After a hard night shift, I came home and saw that my things were lying around entrance, and the locks have been changed. On the door, a note from my mother-in-law. Now in yours, my daughter and her grandchildren will live in this apartment. They need an apartment more. Then I made just one call, and the mother-in-law, sobbing, begged him to forgive her. I turned her life into a real nightmare. And before we begin, I would like to ask you to put like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and enjoy listening. Miroslava was climbing the stairs' 7th floor when I heard a familiar voice. The elevator broke down again, and she had already gotten used to it, to these daily workouts after 12-hour shifts in surgery department. But now on the 6th floor landing, Valentina was standing right at her door, Efimovna, her mother-in-law with a tape measure in hands. The woman measured methodically doorway, writing something in small notebook. I didn't notice Miroslava's approach was so great, carried away by the process. Only when the step creaked under my foot, mother-in-law, she shuddered and turned around sharply. Valentina Efimovna, what are you doing? The roulette wheel rolled up with a distinctive click. Back, the mother-in-law smiled tensely, hiding the notebook in the pocket of the knitted cardigan. Mirochka, my daughter, I was just passing by. I decided to check if you needed help with repairs. Your door is old. At all. Miroslava opened the door with a key, feeling something scraping inside. A mother-in-law never does anything just like that appeared, especially with measuring devices. Thanks, but Artyom and I didn't do anything. We plan to change. Everything is fine. Well, young people. Valentina Efimovna shook her head and hugged Miroslava by the shoulders, literally squeezed through after into the apartment. I just wanted to talk to you about important. Miroslava took off her shoes and walked away to the kitchen, including a kettle. Mother-in-law settled down at the table, looking around apartment with an appraising glance. Such the look people usually have, estimating the value of property. I'm listening to you. You know that mine Kristinochka broke up with that scoundrel Vlad? Miroslava actually heard. Artyom heard from the corner of his ear that his sister got divorced, but didn't know the details, and I wasn't particularly interested. Kristina always treated her from above, considering him an unworthy match for brother. Yes, Artyom mentioned it. So, my dear, now she has absolutely nowhere to go. Live. Can you imagine? Vlad kicked her out children. She has 2 children, 7 and 9 years old. They are now huddled in my one-room apartment. Apartment. Do you understand how cramped it is? Miroslava nodded, pouring teacups. Something inside me felt cold. She felt something approaching, unpleasant. And you know, Mirochka, you have a whole bunch of them here, 82 square meters. That's a lot for 2 people, right? You and Artyom are not planning to have children, as far as I know. Maybe it's worth thinking about exchange? You should take something smaller. And Kristina and her grandchildren were given this apartment, or at least let them live there, temporarily. Here it is. Miroslava put the cup on the table, looking mother-in-law straight in the eyes. Valentina Efimovna, I have this apartment. I bought it with my own money before the wedding, Artyom. I paid it off for 8 years while working, at 3 jobs. It is issued only on me, and I'm not going with anyone change. Don't let anyone live there. The mother-in-law's face lengthened. Smile disappeared, as if it had been erased with an eraser. But after all, a family should help each other. Kristina is your sister-in-law. She has children. Small. Kristina is a grown woman. She can rent a place to live or seek help from to the state. I don't have to solve it. Problems at one's own expense. Valentina Efimovna stood up without even touching tea. Her face turned red. Selfish. I knew you were like that. My Artyomushka shouldn't have married you. The door slammed. Miroslava stayed sitting in the kitchen, feeling like the tension slowly releases from my shoulders, but something told her. This is just start. 3 days have passed. Miroslava, I was returning from duty when I saw. There is an envelope in the mailbox, plain white envelope without stamp and sender. She opened it right in the entrance. Inside was a document branded on the letterhead of the Horizon Real Estate Agency. Assessment of the market value of an object real estate. Address, her apartment. Assessment date, June 17th, 3 months ago. Customer Valentina Efimovna Grishina. Miroslava read the document twice. My mother-in-law ordered an appraisal of her apartment. 3 months before Kristina's divorce. This meant one thing. A plan to capture the living space was prepared in advance. There was a divorce. Just a pretext. She took a picture of the document on the phone and carefully put it away, back into the envelope. Went up to home where? Artyom was watching football, lounging on the couch. Hello, dear. How's the shift? Fine. Listen, does your mom often interested in our apartment? Artyom tore himself away from the TV. What? No. And what? Just asking. She went into the bedroom and hid the envelope in safe. Artyom never opened the safe. There were only her documents there, medical certificates and savings. I didn't even know the code. In the evening, they dined in silence. Miroslava, I was cooking buckwheat with chicken, and Artyom, I was scrolling through my phone. Suddenly, he put it down and looked at her with a strange look. Mira, what was I thinking about? About ours apartment. It is only designed for you. Yes. Miroslava chewed slowly, not looking away. Yes, I bought it before marriage. Maybe it's worth re-registering it for two? We same family, that would be fair. Here it is. This means that the mother-in-law has already reached her son. Miroslava put down her fork. Artyom, why do this? Well, how is it? For what? For trust. In order to show that we are a real couple. We were married for 4 years. Is this it? Not enough proof? Mira, don't be stubborn. Normal people are everything. The property is divided in half. Normal people buy property together and initially divide it into halves. I earned this apartment myself before how we met, and she will stay mine. Artyom turned to God. For the first time in 4 years of marriage, Miroslava, I saw undisguised anger in his eyes. So you don't trust me? So I won't give the result to 8 years of my work just because someone decided that this was the right thing to do? My mother is right. You are selfish. Your mother has no right to interfere in our affairs. Relationship. Artyom jumped up from the table, knocking over chair. Are you talking about my mother? She raised me alone. She deserves it. Respect. Respect doesn't mean I have to distribute your property at her direction. He grabbed his jacket and jumped out, apartment slamming the door. Miroslava remained sitting in the kitchen looking at cold dinner. It was their first serious quarrel, and she's great. I understood who provoked her. The next day, Miroslava went out with night shift at 8 a.m. I wanted to go in the pharmacy for vitamins when I go to her. A woman of about 40 in business attire approached suit. Miroslava Andreevna? Yes, I'm listening. My name is Oksana. I am a realtor from Horizon Agency. She called me Valentina Efimovna Grishina. I was interested in options for exchanging yours apartments. I have prepared several proposals. The woman handed over a folder with printouts. Miroslava mechanically took it, leafing through it, pages. There were options: 1-room and 2-room apartments in sleeping areas. Apartments are clearly cheaper her home. Sorry, but I didn't order anything. Oksana raised her eyebrows in surprise. How come you didn't order it? Valentina Efimovna said that you agreed to an exchange. She even contributed advance payment for selection of options. 5,000. Miroslava felt the cold spreads through the veins. Valentina Efimovna has no rights to dispose of my property. I'm not going to move anywhere or anything. Change. Take your papers and return them. Money to the customer. The deal is off. But I've already spent time choosing. This your problems. I didn't give consent. Contact the person who hired you. Miroslava turned around and walked away, feeling the rage boiling inside. Her mother-in-law acted behind her back. I was evaluating the apartment and looking for options exchange, processed the son. It wasn't. It was just a conflict. It was planned operation. At home, she found Artyom sleeping. He's obviously I returned only in the morning. It smelled like fumes. Miroslava did not wake him up. Instead I took out my laptop and started searching information about your rights. The apartment was bought before the marriage, which means it's not subject to division. Issued only on. So, no one can dispose of it without her consent. But if Artem files a lawsuit for recognition apartments are jointly acquired property, no, the law is on her side. She has everything. Checks, all documents confirming that she bought the house with her own money back in 2009, 5 years before meeting Artyom. She calmed down a little. The law protected her. But why then did the anxious feeling not go away? On Saturday, Miroslava was washing clothes when the doorbell rang. Opened the door without looking through the peephole. On the threshold, Christina stood with 2 children, a boy and a girl. The children looked tired in wrinkled clothes. Hello, Miroslava. Can I come in? The children want to go to the toilet. Miroslava retreated silently. The children rushed inside, immediately took off their shoes, and ran around the apartment. Christina followed behind, looking around to the parties. Wow, what beauty you have here. I'm huddled in the same room with the guys' moms. We sleep on folding beds. Can you imagine? Sorry. The kids came back from the toilet and immediately started to explore the apartment. The boy grabbed the TV remote control. The girl climbed towards the bookshelves. Miroslava wanted to stop them, but Christina waved her hand. Oh well, let it be so. They're playing. They're just kids. Miroslava walked into the kitchen, pouring water. Christina settled down at the table as hostess. Listen, Miroslava, I was just thinking about you. It's a huge apartment. Maybe the kids and I will move in with you time? For 3 or 4 months, until I find work, and I won't take off something of my own? No. Christina flinched at the abruptness. Answer. What? No. I'm not ready to let go strangers to yourself, even relatives, outsiders. I am your husband's sister, my children are his nephews. And this does not make my obligations to you more. Christina, you're an adult, your arms, legs, head. Find a job, rent a place to live. I don't have to decide yours. Problems. Christina's face distorted. She jumped up, heading towards the living room. Miroslava went followed and froze on the threshold. The children drew on the wallpaper with markers. Bright scribbles covered the light beige, a wall about 1.5 meters thick. The boy diligently drove the cars. The girl was drawing some flowers. What are they doing? Christina shrugged. They draw. What are you shouting about? Change the wallpaper. Stop immediately. Miroslava snatched the marker from the children's hands. The children started crying. Christina, leave now. Oh, you! She was greedy for wallpaper. This is mine apartment, and I won't let anyone ruin it. My renovation. Go away. Big deal, wallpaper, you'll be changing it soon anyway. The phrase sounded like a sentence. Miroslava, grab the phone as she opened the door. Or you go yourself, or I'll call the police. Take your pick. Christina grabbed the children by the hands and dragged out into the corridor. You will regret it. Mother Artyom and I will teach you a lesson, you'll see. The door slammed. Miroslava leaned her back against her, breathing heavily. Then she approached the damaged wall. The markers were permanent. Wallpaper will have to be changed. Artyom returned in the evening home and immediately pounced on her. You kicked out my sister and the kids? We came to visit and you made a scene. Your sister brought the children who they drew on my wallpaper and she didn't apologize. Moreover, she said that I'll have to change the wallpaper soon anyway. And what such? These are children. They don't understand. Children understand if they are brought up and they don't educate. And I don't have to endure it. Damage to property in your home. In my house. Do you hear yourself? This is ours. The house is registered in my name, and while I'm alive and capable, my rules apply here. Artyom looked at her with hatred. Such the gaze is usually cast on the enemies, and not on wives. My mother is right. You are evil and callous. Woman. I don't know why I'm on you got married. Now I'm starting to think about this too. He left, slamming the door. Miroslava. I was left alone in the apartment, feeling like the world around her is slowly crumbling. Something was going wrong, something very serious. The next day, Miroslava specially left her shift early, citing headache, went to the store electronics and bought a small camera video surveillance with motion sensor. I installed it in the entrance hall, camouflaging it, under the neighbor's mailbox opposite. Neighbor, grandfather Fyodor Ivanovich, no longer I received letters, and the box rusted for years. Ideal place. The camera recorded onto a memory card and sent notifications to the phone when motion detection. Miroslava. I set everything up in 20 minutes and came back home. Artyom was not there. He reported in the morning. That mother will help Christina with moving. He did not specify where to move. Miroslava didn't ask. She lay down sleep with an alarm set for every hour. I wanted to check if he would come, someone at night. But the night passed peacefully, and I'm on the phone in the morning at about 8 o'clock. A notification has arrived. Miroslava opened the camera app and I saw the recording. Valentina Efimovna climbed the stairs together with a man of about 10 years old in working clothes overalls. He had a suitcase in his hands, with tools. They stopped at the doors of Miroslava's apartment. Mother-in-law, she pointed to the door, explaining something. The man examined the lock, felt the door. I knocked on the door frame, then took out a tape measure and measured the doorway. Wrote something down notebook. There was no sound on the recording, but the lips could understand individual words. Change quickly, in 2 hours, no one finds out. The man nodded, put away his tools and went down. Valentina Efimovna stood there for a little while longer, looking at the door with a triumphant smile, and also left. Miroslava reconsidered recording 3 times. So they were planning to change the locks, just enter the apartment and change locks while she's not home. And then, put before the fact, either make peace or go to court. And most people are like that. Situations were given up, not wanting to spoil relationships with family. But Miroslava was not most people. She saved the recording and made 3 copies on different media and sent it to my self email. Then she took out her phone and dialed her university number. Evgenia's friends. She worked as a lawyer in a large office, specialized in family disputes. Zhenya, hi. I need a consultation. Urgently. Mira, what happened? You don't usually ask for help. It happened. You can meet today. Certainly. Come to the office for lunch. Miroslava got dressed and wrote to Artyom a short message about what will happen busy and went to the city center. Evgenia's office was on the 9th floor of the business center, spacious, bright, with panoramic windows. Evgenia met her with a worried face. Sit down and tell me. I see that this is a serious matter. Miroslava laid it all out. Strange mother-in-law's behavior, apartment assessment, conversation with the realtor, Artyom's demand. Re-register the housing, damaged wallpaper, camera recording. Evgenia listened, not interrupting, making notes in a notebook. Mira, do you understand that this is an attempt? Raid or seizure of an apartment? I suspect they act according to a pattern. First, they create emotional pressure so that you voluntarily re-registered housing. If not, it turns out that they will act by force. According to the recording, they wanted to change the locks and seize the apartment physically, and then already formalize it through the court. It's called arbitrariness. What should I do? Evgenia leaned back the back of the chair. First, make copies of everything, documents for the apartment. Put the originals in a safe deposit box or give it to me storage. Second, open an account in another bank. We transferred all our savings there. Third, don't re-register the apartment under any what pretext. Fourth, save everything evidence of their actions. Correspondence, records, checks. Fifth, be prepared for divorce. Towards divorce, peace. Your husband is acting in concert with mother-in-law against you. He demanded re-register the apartment. He protects sister who damaged your property. He's not on your side. If it comes to that court, he will testify against you. Think about it. Miroslava remained silent. Somewhere deep inside she already knew it. I just didn't want to admit it. Okay, I'll do everything you said. And more peace. If they try to change locks or seize the apartment immediately, call the police. Don't try to solve it conflict peacefully. They already announced it to you, war. Answer adequately. Miroslava nodded. As she was leaving the office, I felt a strange calm. Now she knew what to do the next 2 days. Miroslava acted methodically and removed copies of all documents for the apartment. I put the originals in a bank safe deposit box, opened an account in another bank, and transferred all savings go there, $370,000. The money she was saving for renovations bathroom, changed passwords for everyone electronic services installed. 2-factor authentication, checked to see if Artyom had access to her email or cloud storage facilities. I found one shared folder, deleted all my documents from it. Artyom, he hardly showed up at home. He came late, went to bed silently, left early in the morning. They didn't talk. Cold War. Miroslava understood this, the calm before the storm. They were getting ready for the decisive blow, and she was also preparing. On Thursday, returning from the night shift, Miroslava received a new notification with cameras. Same picture, Valentina Efimovna, and that one the same master with tools. This time, they weren't just looking around. Door. The master took out a drill and began drill something near the lock. Miroslava stopped the car right there in the middle of the road, causing discontent signals from other drivers. Opened the recording at full volume. They actually changed the lock right now while she's at work. Miroslava turned the car around and sped off. Home, breaking all speed limits. My heart was pounding so hard that I felt a thump in my temples. The pain throbbed. My hands were shaking steering wheel. She flew into the yard and threw the car where she got and ran to. Entrance. Climbed the stairs the 7th floor in a minute, although usually it took about 5 minutes. There is no one on the site. There was none. The door was closed. Miroslava, I tried to open the lock with a key, gave in. So, they didn't have time or didn't decided. She went inside and looked around, door from the inside. There were some near the castle fresh scratches, drill marks. They actually started changing the lock, but something stopped them. Miroslava got it phone and called the management company. Hello, apartment 327, floor 7 floor. My door is damaged. Someone tried to pick the lock. Send a technician to install an additional lock. Urgently, we can't today. Only tomorrow. To me needed today. I'll pay extra. Okay, we'll send a technician this evening. Miroslava hung up and sat down, on the floor right in the hallway. So, it all began. They are no longer stood on ceremony. They went to the bank, and she should have answered. In the evening, a foreman from the management came company, an elderly man with a kind face, Uncle Sasha, who was all ready. helped the residents of the house with minor repairs, looked at the door, shook his head, tried to hack. Do you see the scratches? This, from a drill. They wanted to drill out the cylinder castle. It didn't work. You have a castle strong, but the attempt was serious. Can you install a second, more secure lock? Of course, I'll install a mortise lock with an armored cover. You can't drill it out or knock it out, only you'll open it with the key. The master worked for about 2 hours. Miroslava, I was sitting in the kitchen drinking strong tea and I was going over the possible scenarios in my head scenarios. Valentina Efimovna clearly had no intention of give up, so there will be a new attempt, more sophisticated. When the master finished, Miroslava, I received 3 sets of keys from the new one castle. I kept one for myself, the second one. I put it in my bag and gave the third one away storage of Eugenia. She gave Artyom the keys. I wasn't going to give it. Thank you, Uncle Sasha. How much do I owe? 10,000 for work and lock. Miroslava counted out the money. Expensive, but safety is more important. When the master left, she looked at the door. Now she had it on 2 locks, old and new. To open it, 2 keys were needed, and there was only one Artyom, from the old one. In 10 p.m., husband returned home, tried to open the door with his key. Not it worked. I knocked. Miroslava, open up. She walked up to the door, but was in no hurry to open it. For what? How for what? I live here. Open the door. You live here, but the apartment is mine, and I installed an additional lock for security. What other security? Someone tried to break down the door today. In the morning, I have strengthened my defenses. Rave. Who will be there? Break down our door. Don't know. Maybe the police will help find out. She opened door. Artyom stumbled inside, red from anger. Are you completely mad? Now you won't let me out of the house. I'll let you in. When will you explain why your mother? I hired a locksmith to change the locks in my apartment. Artyom froze. Surprise and fear were reflected on his face, then anger. What are you talking about? I have a recording. Your mother twice I brought the master here. Today he started change the lock. I didn't have time to finish, because that I returned on time. You are spying on my mother. I protect my property from encroachments. Give me the key to the new lock. No, Miroslava. No, Artyom. Until I understand whose side you are on side, you will not have access to my apartment without my presence. He looked at her as if he saw her for the first time. Then he turned sharply and left, slamming the door. Miroslava turned both lock and leaned her back against the door. Now it's definitely war. Miroslava couldn't sleep that night. She was lying in the darkness, listening to every rustle. The phone was lying nearby. There was a light on the screen application with a surveillance camera. Any movement in the entrance, and she will receive notification. At 3 a.m., a message arrived. Miroslava jumped up and opened the recording. Up the stairs, 3 people rose: Valentina Efimovna, Christina, and Artyom. Artyom had a sports bag in his hands. They stopped at the door of the apartment. Artyom took some tool out of his bag, similar to a crowbar, tried to pry it up. Door. It didn't work. The armored car held tightly. He swore, but there was no sound. Audible, but easy to read on the lips. Valentina Efimovna said something, waving his arms. Christina nodded. Artyom tried to open the door again, this time with the other side. The result is the same. Through after 15 minutes, they gave up and left. Miroslava. I watched the recording again. So, husband finally went over to the enemy's side. He not only didn't defend her, he actively participated in the attempt to capture her apartments. In the morning, Miroslava went to Evgenia, no waiting for working hours. Called her at 7 a.m. Zhenya. Sorry it's so early, I need to you right now. What's happened? They tried to break down the door at night, the 3 of us. Artyom too. Come. I'm leaving the house. Let's meet at the cafe nearby my office in half an hour. They met in a small cafe on the first floor of the business center. Miroslava showed all the recordings from the camera. Evgenia looked silently, her face turning to stone every second. Mira, this is already criminal. Case. Attempt on someone else's property, attempted illegal entry. You need to go to the police right now. I want to jail Artyom. Peace. He tried to break into your apartment. Breakage, do you understand this? Understand. Then stop defending him. He did choice. He chose his mother and sister. He chose your apartment instead of you. Now it's your turn to choose. Miroslava was silent, looking into the cup with cold coffee. Is Evgenia right? Certainly, rights. Okay. I'll collect all the documents and go to police. You won't go. It's too early. First, you need to prepare legally. Submit to divorce. Make a complete inventory of the property. Open a property division case. When everything is formalized, then report attempts at illegal seizure. Otherwise, they might get ahead of you and serve counterclaim, accusing you of provocations. This will take a week, maximum. 2. I'll arrange everything quickly. Do you trust? To me? Miroslava nodded. I trust. Then let's get to work. First, submit your application today. Divorce. Reason, irreconcilable disagreements. Second, we are making an inventory of property. Everything you bought before marriage. Everything that earned it myself. Third, change all the locks in the apartment. Don't add new ones, but change the keys completely so that the old ones are gone. Artyom was not suitable at all. Fourth, don't spend the night at home for a few days. Get a hotel room or stay with someone. They may try to take over apartment while you sleep. I have duty at the hospital. Great. After your shifts, stay in hotel. Don't go home. What if they break down the door to mine? Absence, you have a camera. It will record it. It will be proof. In the meantime, the door is strong and the neighbors vigilant. Ask your neighbors to keep an eye on you behind your apartment. Say you're leaving. For several days. The plan was clear. Miroslava felt the tension. Let's go. Now she is not alone. Now, she has support. On the same day, Miroslava filed application for divorce to the Legislative Assembly, indicated reason, irreconcilable differences, and loss of trust. Artyom was not warned. He will know when we'll receive a summons. Returned home, pack up for a short while to move to hotel. Artyom was not there. Fine, I didn't want to scenes. She packed clothes for a week. Documents, laptop, the last thing. I photographed every room, apartments, every corner, everything. Inventory of property for the court. When I was going out and ran into someone in the entrance, neighbor, Aunt Galia, an elderly woman who lived on the floor below and knew everything news at home before anyone else. Mirochka, where are you going with your suitcases? I'm leaving for a few days, Aunt Galia. On duty at the hospital, then business trip. Artyom will be at home. But if you see something strange at my door, people, strangers, noise, call me. Please, here is my number. Miroslava handed over a business card, which was quickly I wrote it by hand. Oh, baby. And what? Happened? It's okay. Just precaution. Aunt Galia nodded with an understanding look. Gossip spread quickly in the house. Surely everyone already knew about the problems into Miroslava's family. Miroslava settled in a small hotel near the hospital. Number tiny but clean. Bed, table, TV. That's enough. She lay down on the bed, no undressing and staring at the ceiling. How quickly everything fell apart. 4 years of marriage and here she is alone. Hotel. Saves himself from his own husband. The phone vibrated. Message from an unknown number. You think you're smart, we'll kick you out anyway. You from the apartment. She is needed by the family, not to someone else's woman. Miroslava went cold. The number is unfamiliar. Kristina Style or Valentina Efimovna. She took a screenshot of the message, saved in a separate folder evidence, and blocked the number. Then she wrote to Evgenia, "They are threatening me. I'm sending a screenshot." The response came instantly. "Save everything. These are additional evidence for the court." For the next 3 days, Miroslava lived in a regime constant combat readiness, was on duty in hospital for 12 hours, then returned to the hotel and sat at the laptop, preparing documents for divorce. Artyom called. She didn't pick up the phone. He wrote message. "Where are you? Why don't you come home? We need to talk." She didn't answer. The camera in the entrance recorded every movement. Valentina Efimovna came twice. I stood at the door, rang the bell, but no one answered. Opened, left. Kristina came once with the children. The children knocked on the door and shouted, "Auntie Mira, open up!" Miroslava watched the recording with pain in her chest. The children are not to blame, but she couldn't let them in. On Friday, Aunt Galia called in the evening. "Mirochka, something strange is happening here. At yours, some people gathered at the door, a man 5. They are discussing something with your husband. Aunt Galia, call the police. Tell that strangers are trying to break into the apartment. But your husband is there. I filed for divorce. He no longer has the right to dispose of my apartment. Please call police." Aunt Galia hesitated, then agreed. Miroslava opened the camera recording in real time. Indeed, there were 6 standing at the door, human. Artyom, Valentina Efimovna, Kristina, 2 unfamiliar men in work clothes, and another woman. The men examined the door and discussed something's wrong with Artyom. One got it tools. Miroslava grabbed the phone. I called a taxi and rushed home. Drive 20 minutes. During this time they managed to break down the door. The taxi took an excruciatingly long time to get there. Miroslava. I looked at the phone screen where the men were. They have already started working on the castle. Artyom stood nearby, shining a flashlight. Valentina Efimovna was talking on phone. When the taxi pulled up to the house, Miroslava jumped out without waiting for the change. and ran to the entrance. Climbed up 7th floor in a minute. On the site, there was no one there. The doors closed, but nearby there were some tools and trash lying around. Drill shavings. Miroslava inserted key in the lock. The top lock opened easy, the lower one was jammed. She has difficulty. She turned the key, walked inside, and froze. The apartment was in perfect order. Nothing is touched. But on the floor in the hallway there was a note lying there. Miroslava picked her up with trembling hands. "We will come in here whenever we want, and nothing can be done. This apartment is needed to the family, not to you. Valentina's handwriting, Efimovna." Miroslava photographed the note, then she tore it up and threw it away. I looked at it door from the inside. The locks are damaged but are holding on. So, they didn't have time to hack it. They got scared of the police and ran away. She sank to the floor right in the hallway, clasping his head with his hands. How long is this? Will it continue? How much longer will it hold up? Evgenia's phone rang. "Mira, I just received a response from Zaksa. Your divorce petition has been accepted. The divorce proceedings will take place in a month, if Artyom doesn't mind. If he objects, the case will go to court and the divorce will take 3 months. Okay, are you okay?" "No. They tried break down the door right now. I made it in time." "Mira, listen to me carefully. Tomorrow morning you go to the police and write official statement about attempts of illegal entry, about threats, about everything. You provide everything, camera recordings, all messages, everything proof. There is no more time to delay. They are becoming more aggressive." "Okay, I'll do it." "And call a repairman. Let him change everything locks. I'll send you the number today. Reliable person. He works 24 hours a day." In 5 minutes, Miroslava was already. I talked to the master. He promised to arrive in an hour. Cost of work in nighttime 20. Miroslava agreed without bargaining. I walked around the apartment, checking if everything was okay. Place. It seems like nothing was touched, but a feeling of disturbed space. It was as if strangers had walked through her life with dirty boots. The technician arrived in 45 minutes. Young, the guy was professional and fast. He filmed it. Both old locks installed 2 new ones, reinforced with burglar-proof protection. Worked 2 hours. No one will take these castles, only with using a grinder. But then the whole entrance will hear noise. "Thank you." Miroslava gave the money and received 6 sets of keys. I kept 3 for myself. 3 will be given to Evgenia. When the master left, she closed the door, both new locks, and leaned against her back. Now Artyom won't be able to get in. Inside, his old keys are no longer suitable. This means that the war has moved to a new level. In the morning, Miroslava actually went to police. The department was located at 10 minutes walk from the house. She took with a flash drive with all the recordings, printouts of messages, photographs, damaged door. Duty officer. Listen to her attentively. Means, your mother-in-law and her husband tried to seize your apartment. Yes, I have all the evidence. She showed the recordings. The officer looked silently, shaking his head. Clear. Write a statement. In detail, with dates and names. We will initiate a case of arbitrariness and attempt illegal entry. Miroslava wrote a statement for 2 hours. I remembered every detail, every incident from the first meeting with the mother-in-law roulette until yesterday's hacking attempt. When it was finished, the officer took the statement. And a flash drive. We will check within 3 days, and let's call all the participants to give testimony. We will notify you about results. Thank you. Miroslava left the department with a feeling relief. Now it's official. Now they can't just retreat and pretend like nothing happened. She returned to the hotel, and for the first time I slept peacefully for a week. 2 days later, the investigator called. Miroslava Andreevna, this is the eldest investigator Kovalev. We have reviewed your statement. A criminal case has been opened under Article 139, UKRF, arbitrariness. Also, the question of initiation is being considered cases under Article 139 and Article 163. Attempt on someone else's property. You need to appear to give evidence. The day after tomorrow at 10 a.m., I will. We also summoned Valentina for questioning. Efimovna Grishina, Kristina Alexandrovna Grishin, and Artem Vladimirovich Grishin. Be prepared for what they might do, try to contact you and influence you on your testimony. I'm ready. After talking with the investigator, Miroslava felt strange emptiness. So, it has gone this far. Criminal case. Her husband is under investigation. The phone rang. Artem, Miroslava. For a long time I looked at the screen, then still answered, Yes, Miroslava, are you crazy? Police. Called me in for questioning. You wrote on me a statement. I wrote it. You tried to illegally break into my apartment. This crime. I am your husband, soon-to-be ex. I applied for divorce. What did you do it? Your choice, Artyom. You chose. Mother and sister instead of me. You tried to take away from me the apartment that I earned through my own labor. Now pay up. Miroslava, listen. No, listen. I will not tolerate the pressure from your family. I will no longer make excuses. For that I am defending what is mine. Divorce, criminal case, division of property, all this is yours. Choice. You could have taken my side, but you didn't get up. We can solve everything. Peace. Well, please, it's late. She turned it off. Phone and blocked his number. After blocked Valentina Efimovna's numbers and Christina. That's it, no more conversations. Evgenia called in the evening. Mira, I heard. Well done. You did the right thing. It doesn't seem like the right decision, rather to disaster. It's a disaster for them, not for you. You protected yourself. You used the law. You didn't let yourself be manipulated. This is the right decision. Why then do you feel so bad? Because you are human. Because 4 years life cannot be erased in one motion. But it will pass with time, believe me. Miroslava wanted to believe, I hope it will get easier, but for now it's just hard. 2 days later, she showed up at the department for giving testimony. Investigator Kovalev, I met her in my office, a small one, in a room littered with folders on the third floor. Sit down and tell me everything, order from the very beginning. Miroslava spoke for an hour. Investigator wrote down, sometimes asked clarifying questions. So, the first attempt at pressure was with demand to exchange the apartment. Yes. Then my husband demanded to re-register an apartment for 2, right? And the mother-in-law, I ordered an apartment appraisal 3 months in advance before these events. Yes, I have a document. This is an important detail. So, there were actions planned in advance. This makes them worse guilt. The investigator finished recording and leaned back. On the back of the chair. Miroslava Andreevna, I will be with you frank. Your case is strong. Do you have there is all the evidence, records, documents, witnesses. Valentina Efimovna and other defendants face punishment. A fine, correctional labor, perhaps, suspended sentence. To Artyom? Artyom is an accomplice. He participated in hacking attempts. But if he gives confession and will go to cooperation with the investigation, punishment will be softer. Most likely it will be okay, a fine. It's clear? They may try to contact with you, ask to withdraw the application, not give in. If you withdraw your statement, they will understand that may continue to put pressure on you. I'm not going to take it. Investigator nodded with approval. Okay, then we'll continue investigation. Expect a court summons when the case is ready for hearing. Miroslava left the department with a serious heart. She did what she had to. But why does it feel so disgusting inside? That same evening, Evgenia called. Mira, there is news. Artyom filed counterclaim, demands recognition of the apartment jointly pressed property and divide in half. On what basis? He says you've been married for 4 years, and he invested money in repairs and apartment maintenance. But I can prove that all expenses I carried it myself. Certainly. Can. Do you have all checks, all statements? We will win this lawsuit, but this means a protracted legal battle. The process takes 3 to 4 months. Let me not retreat. That's right. We will fight to the end. Miroslava, I hung up and looked out the window hotel room. There, behind the glass, there was ordinary life. People were in a hurry to go about their business, laughed, talked, and she got stuck in this war that I did not start. But once the war has begun, it will bring it to its end until victory, whatever the cost. Miroslava, I was sorting through Artyom's things, preparing them for washing when the inside pocket is. Something caught her sports bag attention. She took out a bunch of keys, 3 pieces on a worn keychain with a logo car service. I took a closer look and went cold. These were the keys to her apartment. Duplicates, brand new, shiny, only what is done. She never gave Artyom is given permission to make copies. After, he doesn't have any new locks installed at all, there was access to her keys. So, he took the casts, or stole the keys for a while, made copies and returned them. Miroslava stood in the middle of the bedroom, clutching someone else's keys in a fist. Everything is inside. It was chilling to realize. The husband was getting ready to break into the apartment without her knowledge. She didn't say anything and put the keys down. Back into the bag pocket, carefully I zipped up the zipper and then took out my phone and called the same master who I installed locks a week ago. I don't need to change the locks and change internal mechanism to old keys, they didn't fit anymore, but the external lock looked exactly the same. Understood. This is called recoding of the larva. I'll come in 2 hours. Artyom returned home late in the evening when the master had already left long ago. Miroslava sat in the kitchen with a book, pretending that reads. Hello, will you have dinner? No, I ate at Mother's. Certainly. Where else? Artyom went into the bedroom, and Miroslava I heard a rustling sound. He checked the bag, looking for keys, probably making sure that they were on place. She chuckled to herself. Let it be thinks that everything is going according to plan. In the morning, Miroslava left for duty earlier than usual. Left at home, the camera turned on and pointed at the front door from the inside. I wanted to see if Artyom will try use the keys in her absence. She worked on autopilot all day, constantly checking the phone. Notifications, they didn't come, which means he hasn't come yet. I tried. In the evening, when the shift ended, Miroslava looked through the recordings. In 1,423 minutes later, Artyom actually came home, took those same keys out of his pocket, inserted into the lock. The key didn't fit. Artyom. I tried again, twisted it in different directions, sides. Nothing. He took out his phone. I called someone and spoke for about 3 minutes. Waving his arms, then he left. Miroslava saved the recording to a secure folder. More one proof. In the evening, Artyom returned home, gloomier clouds, threw the car keys on nightstand, went into the kitchen, poured himself a drink water. Have you changed the locks? Miroslava looked up from the laptop. No. And what? Nothing. He went into the room, slamming the door. Miroslava continued work with the documents that I prepared. For the court. Let him be nervous, let him be understands, she is always one step ahead. 3 days later, the doorbell rang. Miroslava opened the door and saw on the threshold Valentina Efimovna, the mother-in-law, dressed in a special way, solemnly. Burgundy suit, white ruffled blouse, polished shoes. She was holding a leather folder in her hands. Mirochka, my dear, can I come in? To me, I need to talk to you about something important. Miroslava retreated silently. The mother-in-law went into the living room and settled in on the sofa, put the folder on the coffee table. Mirochka, I was just thinking, you and I, we had a fight over something trivial, but we didn't get along. Characters, it happens. But we are adults. People, we can resolve everything in a civilized manner. I'm listening to you. Valentina Efimovna opened folder, took out several sheets, fastened with a paper clip. Here I brought the deed of gift. You give the apartment to Artyom, my son. Everything is fair, everything is legal. You don't care anyway, family. What difference does it make who it's registered to? But then all the arguments will end, and we will start living well. Amicably. Miroslava took the contract, ran my eyes through it. Standard text. I, Miroslava Andreevna, I give it as a gift. Apartment at date, signature, notary seal. The mother-in-law had already prepared everything. All that was left was just put your signature. Do you seriously think I'm going to sign this? Why not? You love Artyom, don't you? You husband and wife. Isn't it normal? When is the property registered to the head of the family? I am the head of the family. I earn money more than Artyom. I bought an apartment with my own money, and I'm not going to give it away to no one. Valentina Efimovna's face lengthened. Miroslava, don't be stupid. Sign a paper and it will all be over. If you don't sign, it will be worse. This is a threat. This is a warning. I'm older. I am more experienced. I know how to get my way. You are young, stupid. Do you think that your cameras and will lawyers help? You are mistaken. I will find a way to get this apartment for my Kristinoshka, and you will remain with neither how. Miroslava stood up, took the contract, and tore it in half. Then again and again more. Get out of my house immediately. Valentina Efimovna jumped up, her face distorted with rage. You'll regret it again. You will regret this day. I will do everything so that you lose not only the apartment but both work and reputation. You will beg me for mercy. The door is over there. The mother-in-law grabbed the empty folder and flew out of the apartment, stomping loudly heels. Miroslava closed the door behind her. The door with both locks, and leaned against it with her back to the cold metal. So, the gloves have been thrown off completely. Now there will be open war. More than a week later, a letter arrived from the court. Miroslava opened the envelope right at the mailbox. Agenda. Case number, search for Artyom Grishin Vladimirovich to Miroslava Andreevna about recognition of the apartment as jointly acquired property and dividing it into equal shares. Miroslava read the document twice. Artyom officially filed a lawsuit against her. Demands half of the apartment that I bought it 5 years before they met. I went up to my house and called Evgenia. Zhenya, I received a summons. Artyom demands divide the apartment in half. I know. I also received a notification like to your representative Peace. They prepared seriously. Artyom hired a lawyer from the Femida office and partners. This is a large office specializes in family matters. They have good winning statistics, but the law is on my side. Apartment purchased before marriage. Yes. But they will prove that over the years the marriage apartment was improved due to common funds that Artem invested money in. Repairs, in furniture, in household appliances. What he supported you while you were studying advanced training courses. All sorts of nonsense. But the court is obliged to consider it. I have all the receipts, all the statements, everything. I paid. Great. Then we'll collect it a full package of documents and we'll break them down. Arguments are blown to smithereens. But get ready the process will take at least 3 months. Okay, I'm ready. Miroslava hung up and sat down at table, taking out folders with documents. The checks for the repairs are all in her name. Extracts from cards, all expenses went through her check. All contracts with the craftsman have been signed. Artyom hasn't made any contributions in 4 years of marriage. Not a penny for the apartment. She sorted papers when the phone vibrated. Message from an unknown number. If you don't give up the apartment voluntarily, we'll take her through the court, and then you'll be left with nothing at all. We know how to destroy people like you. Miroslava. I took a screenshot and blocked the number. I sent a screenshot to Evgenia with a note. One threat to the case. The next day, Miroslava returned with duty and went to see Aunt Galia, a neighbor from below. Aunt Gal, tell me, did Artyom come home today? No, my dear, but here is his mother came with some woman, stood at your door, they were discussing something. Took a picture of the door. When was this? Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I just came from the post office, was returning. Miroslava went up to her room and opened the door. Camera recording. Indeed, at 15 Valentina Efimovna was climbing upstairs with an unfamiliar woman of about 18 years 30 birds. Both stopped at the door. The mother-in-law pointed to the apartment. She was telling something. The woman was writing down in a notebook. I photographed the door, the walls, site. Then they both went down and we stood at the entrance for another 20 minutes discussing something. The woman showed it to her mother-in-law some papers. Miroslava enlarged the image, trying to make out what kind of documents they are. It didn't work. Too far. She sent a recording to Evgenia with the question, who do you think this is? The answer came within 10 minutes. Appraiser or realtor. Getting ready to sell your apartment as soon as you are absent. The impudence is off the charts. Artyom almost stopped showing up at home. Came once every 3 days. Took away the clean clothes. Left. Did not answer questions. Looked away. Miroslava did not insist. She didn't care where he spent the night. One evening, while checking the camera in at the entrance, she saw a strange picture. Artyom climbed the stairs together with Valentina Efimovna and Christina. All 3 people were carrying bags with things. We stopped at the apartment of the mother-in-law, who lived in the neighboring entrance, the keys to which Miroslava was not there. So, Artyom moved in with his mother, and Christina with the children has already settled there. A whole commune got ready. Miroslava chuckled. Let the 3 of them live in a one-room apartment. Maybe they will understand how much they need it. I need her living space. She installed another camera, directed it at her mother-in-law's windows. Apartment was located on the 2nd floor. Windows. Went out into the yard. Miroslav's camera, I attached it to the tree opposite, camouflaged among the branches. Now I saw what was happening inside. The lights are on, silhouettes of people, movements. Everything was recorded. On the very first. In the evening, Miroslava saw something interesting picture. All 3 of them, Valentina Efimovna, Artyom, and Christina, were sitting at the table, spreading a pile of papers in front of him. Artyom showed something on the documents. Mother nodded. Christina wrote down in her notebook. Miroslava enlarged the image. It is impossible to discern the text, but the picture spoke volumes. We were planning something, preparing a strategy. She made a recording and sent it to Evgenia. Genya, look, they are cooking something. I see. Most likely they are developing tactics for the court. They're figuring out how to prove that Artyom invested in apartment. They will look for witnesses, counterfeit checks, anything. Peace to you, you need to be prepared for anything. I'm ready. But inside, everything was clenched with anxiety. How far are they willing to go? The answer has come. In a week. Miroslava was called to head of the hospital department. Elena Mikhailovna, a woman of about 10 years old, with a tired face, she sat at the table. Before there was a folder with documents on it. Miroslava Andreevna, please sit down. We need to have a serious talk. Miroslava sat down, feeling herself getting cold. Inside. A complaint has been received about you, anonymously. In it claims that you are negligent, take your responsibilities seriously. You allow yourself to be rude to patients, violate treatment protocols. This is not true. I know what kind of specialist you are, but the complaint was filed officially. We are obliged. Conduct an inspection. Tomorrow will come commission from the main department healthcare. They will review your patient records, interview colleagues, check documentation. Miroslava clenched her fists so hard that nails dug into palms. Who wrote it? Complaint? I don't know, it's anonymous, but the handwriting is there. Elena Mikhailovna took a sheet of paper out of the folder and handed it to Miroslava. Here, see for yourself. Miroslava took it paper. The text was handwritten in large letters with characteristic covenants. She recognized this handwriting instantly. Valentina Efimovna. The same squiggles, the same ornate letters Z, which the mother-in-law. I wrote it down in my notes. This is my mother-in-law. What is this? My mother-in-law's handwriting. There is a conflict over the apartment. She trying to break me. Elena Mikhailovna leaned back armchairs. Oh my God, Miroslava, I can't cancel verification, but I can support you. Tell the committee everything. Provide evidence that this is slander. If they are convinced that the complaint is false, there will be no consequences. Thank you. Miroslava left the office with shaking hands. So, Valentina Efimovna decided to hit the work she wanted. Deprive her of her source of income, undermine reputation. A clever strategy, I must admit. But Miroslava was not going to give up. That same evening she went to Evgenia. Advocate met her with a gloomy face. Peace. They play dirty. Very dirty. I know. My mother-in-law filed a complaint against me. To the hospital. That's not all. I received the information. Artyom hired a private detective and is trying to find dirt on you. Looking for lovers, evidence of betrayal, anything that can be used in court. But I don't have lovers. I know. But they can fabricate, frame a person, take photos, pass off as the truth. Be careful not to. Meet men alone, don't give in cause for gossip. Miroslava sank down on the chair. How they went downhill. Artyom was. I was a normal person for 4 years, and now he has shown his true face. And it's good that you found out about it. Now. And not in 10 years. Mira, listen to me carefully. We are going on the counterattack. I have prepared a counterclaim for recognition. Marriage is fictitious. On what basis? Evgenia opened the folder and took out several printouts. I dug into Artyom's past. You know, when did he start dating you? In 2014, May. Do you know when was the last time? Took out a loan from a bank and it wasn't approved? No. In April 2014, he tried to take out a mortgage on his own apartment. Refused. Insufficient income, bad credit history. A month later, I met you, a woman who has her own apartment. Miroslava turned pale. What do you mean? I want to say that we have a basis suspect. Artyom married you for your sake apartments, and his mother knew about it from the very beginning. This was the plan. Meet, marry, sneak into trust, re-register the apartment. He didn't expect you to turn up so intractable. Miroslava sat silently, digesting information. 4 years of marriage, 4 years of living with a person who initially saw in her only apartment. File a lawsuit. All the claims you can. On mother-in-law for slander, against Artyom for fraud, both for attempting. Illegal seizure of property. Will be drowned in court cases. This is the right attitude. Tomorrow let's start preparing the documents. The examination at the hospital took 3 days. The commission studied medical records, interviewed patients, talked with Miroslava's colleagues. In the end, the conclusion was unambiguous. Complaint false. No disruptions in Operation Miroslava was not found. Moreover, the commission recommended finding the author anonymous and bring to justice slander. Miroslava gave them a copy. Complaints with a note that the handwriting belongs to her mother-in-law. Commission recorded this fact in her report. Miroslava Andreevna, if you want, we can refer this matter to the police. Slander. Article of the Criminal Code. I will think. Thank you. She already knew that will do. We'll submit an application. We'll add another article to the growing list of charges against Valentina Efimovna. Evgenia worked quickly. In a week, all claims were prepared and filed in court. Lawsuit number 1. On recognizing a marriage as fictitious. Based on evidence that Artyom married for financial gain. Claim number 2 against Valentina Efimovna for slander. Article 128 of the Criminal Code of Arshikev. Claim number 3. On Artem for trying fraud. Preparing counterfeit documents for seizing the apartment. Statement to the police. On Valentina Efimovna and Artyom for attempting to take someone else's property and arbitrariness. Miroslava signed the documents one by one to others. Feeling a strange calm, she declared a real war on them, without rules and mercy. Zhenya, do you think they will be scared? I don't know, but they will definitely understand what's wrong with you. Jokes are bad. Mira, prepare for a counterattack. They don't will sit with their hands folded. And Evgenia turned out to be right. The counterattack has arrived in 2 weeks. Miroslava returned from the night shift at 7 in the morning and discovered that the door of her apartment scratched. Someone tried to pry the lock with a crowbar. Or something similar. Deep furrows on metal, bent handle. But the door endured, armored plate and reinforced. The locks did their job. Miroslava took a picture of the damage, called police. The same employees arrived as. And last time. Yours again, relatives. Looks like it. Do you have a camera? Eat. The recording showed everything. At 3 a.m., 2 men in a dark room approached the door close, faces covered with balaclavas. One held a crowbar, a second flashlight. They tried to break down the door for about 30 minutes, then gave up and left. We will initiate a case of attempted theft of someone else's property. We will look for these people. If I tell you who hired them, tell me, my mother-in-law and husband. They have a motive. They have possibilities. This is them. The policeman nodded. We will interrogate there. If we find a connection between them and these men, we will initiate a criminal case. Miroslava understood that the connection would have to be proven. It's difficult, but the very fact of interrogation will scare you. Mother-in-law will show that Miroslava is not going to retreat. On the same day, a summons arrived for the first court hearing on the search for Artyom division of the apartment. In 2 weeks, Miroslava prepared carefully and collected all documents, all receipts, everything evidence that the apartment bought before marriage and with her personal money. Evgenia helped, checked each one a piece of paper. We have an iron cause of peace. They do not will win. And if they win, they won't win. The law is on your side. But they will try to put pressure on emotions. Tell the judge how good Artyom is. Husband, how he took care of you, how invested in the family. You have to hold on cold and calm. Just the facts. No emotions. End. Miroslava had nightmares at night. The court where the judge rules in favor Artyom. An apartment that is being taken away. Mother-in-law smiling triumphantly at threshold. She woke up in a cold sweat. I grabbed my phone and checked the cameras. Everything is calm. Nobody is trying to break in. Bye. The day before the trial, Artyom unexpectedly called. Miroslava looked at the screen for a long time. Then she answered anyway. What do you want, peace? We need to meet and talk. Let's talk in court, Mira. Please, I want to explain everything. Something in his voice made her be wary. He sounded strange, not evil, not aggressively. Quicker, I'm guilty. Okay, come. She immediately called Evgenia. Zhenya, Artyom wants to meet today. In the evening. Don't meet him alone. This could be a trap. I will record the conversation on a voice recorder. Necessarily. And I'll be in touch. If anything, call me, straight away. Artyom arrived at 9 p.m., looked like terrible, unshaven, rumpled. He smelled alcohol. Miroslava didn't let him go any further. Corridor. Speak. He leaned against the wall and closed it, face with hands. Mira, forgive me. I'm sorry for everything. For what exactly? For what I did. For giving in at the mother's persuasion. For trying to take your apartment away from you. Miroslava stood motionless, watching husband. I worked in my robe pocket voice recorder, recording every word. Continue. Mother said she promised me half money from the sale of your apartment. She said that if I persuade you re-register the housing or I will force you through court, she will sell it and give it to me 250,000. I agreed. Lord, I agreed to sell you for money. Artyom slid down the wall and landed on Paul, cried, wiping his face with the sleeve of his jacket. I didn't want to, I swear I didn't want to at first. But the mother pressed. Christina whined that the children know where to live. They said that you're selfish, you're too big. Apartment, that you should help the family. And I believed that you were wrong. And when did you realize that you married me? For the sake of an apartment? Artyom looked up. There was horror in them. Where are you from? I know everything. I know you were trying to get a mortgage for a month before we met. I know that received a refusal. I know that mother advised you to find a woman with housing. And you found me. He shook his head, tears streaming down his face, unshaven cheeks. At first, yes, at first that was the plan. Mother said, meet the woman, which has an apartment, get married, re-register it in your name. Simple plan. I agreed because there was nowhere to live. I rented a room in hostel, barely making ends meet. And you used me for 4 years. No, Mira, I fell in love with you. Really, did you fall in love? Somewhere around the third month of our relationship, I realized that you were not just an apartment. You. Smart, strong, kind. I wanted to be with you not because of housing. I wanted to be with you because I felt good being around you. Then why did you try to take it away? Apartment? Because I'm a weakling. Because mother put pressure on me all my life and I didn't know how to refuse. She said, you have to. Help. My sister said, would you really betray your family for some reason? Someone else's woman? And I gave up. I became someone I never wanted to be. Miroslava crossed her arms over her chest. And what do you want now? Forgiveness. I want you to know the truth. I want that. Did you know my mother promised me money, half of the sale? She already agreed with the buyers. Wants sell your apartment for $5 million. Give it away. I'm 2.5. Leave the rest. To myself and the christening. They planned everything before little things. They won't succeed. The apartment is mine. I know, and I'm glad. Mira, I won't be there tomorrow to testify against you in court. First, I'll tell the judge the truth. I'll say it's an apartment, yours. That I didn't put any into it pennies. That he married for convenience. Let my mother will hate me. I don't care. Miroslava looked at him for a long time and silently. Part of her wanted to believe, wanted to think that he truly repented. But the other part is colder and rational, suggested, there will be a trap. Go away, Artyom, Mira, go away. And if do you really want to atone for your guilt tomorrow in court? Say what you promised. Then maybe I'll believe you. He stood up, staggered, and headed towards the door, turned around on the threshold. I loved you. I still love it. I'm sorry that ruined everything. The door closed. Miroslava took out the voice recorder and stopped it. Recording, rewind to the beginning. I listened. Everything was recorded clearly, every single one. Word. She sent the audio file to Evgenia with short message. Listen, this is important. Evgenia called back 10 minutes later. Peace, this is gold, pure gold. He admitted that he married for convenience. That mother promised him money for yours apartment. This is proof of fictitiousness, marriage, and fraudulent intentions. With this recording, we will win all lawsuits. But he promised to tell the truth tomorrow in court. Maybe he promised. Or maybe it's part plan. He will come to court sober and refuse from your words. He'll say he was drunk, that you got him drunk on purpose, so that record a confession. Mira, don't believe him. Even if he is sincere now. Tomorrow his mother will put pressure on him, and he will do it again, will betray. I know. Miroslava went to bed, but sleep did not come with walking. She replayed the conversation in her head, with Artyom, his words, his tears, acting or real repentance. She couldn't tell the difference anymore. In the morning, Miroslava dressed strictly. Black trousers, white blouse, jacket, minimum of cosmetics, the hair is pulled back into a low bun. The image is serious, businesswoman. Evgenia met her at the courthouse, ready,